direct this more towards you, John, but our concern is that your office is out there releasing key parcels of land in civic, land that you can sell any old time. The announcement yesterday that Senator Minchin has signed off on the DEST headquarters on the QET block. Yep, okay, $40 million in the bank for ACT government's good thing for ratepayers, but that could have happened any time in a few years. Each time you do that, it undermines, it takes away one more tenant. And there are only so many departments out there.
Good point.
My concern with this is that our first stage there, it looks like more Hungry Jackses and things, and we are already concerned about a massive underutilisation of space happening in the Gungahlin Town Centre. You just have a look at the latest building that happened. It's Aldi, and what is the majority of the land parcel gone to? Surface parking. You know, we have tried to vision a way forward that will allow you to sell an appropriate floor plate size. I believe 3,000 metres is what is really needed to make it viable. And you know, we've got land going over to surface car parking. We have agreed here that the 4-storey limits are an underutilisation of space. We should go higher. And you know, there's no one. We've got a design population of some 23,000 jobs supposed to be happening here, and we've got 200 maybe going in the first stage of this release. We're really concerned that there are departments out there, and we have had Bob McMullen here 2 months ago say that he will try to stop more departments going to the airport if they are put into government. That's a window of opportunity, and we really don't need. I mean, it's all very well, Gordon, to say that we can't, the government, ACT government can't make departments move anywhere anymore. That's the days of Belconnen and Woden. That doesn't happen anymore. But you can by preventing alternatives. And instead what we have is parcel after parcel after parcel being released in civic, and every single one of them is one more department ticked off the list of potential clients.
I can't respond to some of the other issues. I'll take advice on issues you raise around the 3,000 square metre floor plate, and your belief that that's a more desirable level than the four-storey height limit. I think perhaps we can back from you. The issue, though, which Gordon touched on, is, and I think it's the most significant point that you make, is that, you know, your suggestion or the theory that if the ACT government had not negotiated with DEST for instance, the construction of the new DEST headquarters on the QE2 side, that through our non-engagement and the ACT government putting up its hand and saying in relation to land which we own, have the capacity to sell, we can thereby force or would have any influence in forcing DEST. And Gordon makes the point, you know, it's not even now a Commonwealth government has such a decision about where DEST will locate. It's a decision taken by the Chief Executive of DEST. And no, well, the point that Gordon makes, the days when, and the Commonwealth departments that were located in Tuggeranong, Belconnen, located there by the Commonwealth on land which it controlled, private self-government. And so much land has now been sold and is in the hands of the private sector. There are now 3 major landowners or holders of the ACT: the Commonwealth, the ACT government, and the private sector. The private sector is now as big a player in the provision of land and government offices as either of the 2 governments. And the Commonwealth still has a very nice little store of land within the parliamentary triangle. And I have to say, and I think our capacity through non-engagement, say with DEST would simply have gone to the private sector or to the Commonwealth government, and they would have just said, gone to the Department of Finance and said, well, what land do you have? And they would have looked at the Commonwealth's own supply type land, and they would have decided whether or not any of that suited them. They were, or they would have gone to the private sector to the market and said, well, what land do you have? The recent developments and the biggest developments in Gungahlin, Commonwealth developments, descendant developments, the Centrelink is dealing directly with the private sector. It's not looking at Commonwealth land, it's not looking at ACT government land, it's just gone to the market and said, right, what have you got? And now we find, throughout, and particularly in relation to, say, the city now, with the numbers of B grade or older buildings, look at the new building, the Honduras, who's in there on London Circuit? Aussie, the new Aussie Industry headquarters. Aussie Industry went to the market. The land was owned by the Honduras group.
But can I just point out, Chief Minister, that there is no land available out here to go to the market?
Well, this is, and hence the point that Gordon's just been making, is that I hear what you say is that the initial concepts, the initial pods, you're suggesting not big enough. We're responding to the market. We could put those to the market, and even now we're not sure. Some of our initial analysis, some of our analysis in the past is that we go to the market and actually
if it's cheap enough,
struggle to, well,
if it's cheap enough, then people will buy it. And what's happening is that if you in order to get offices out here, you've got to sell it cheaper. I mean, that's the reality of it. And we know that's not very good for your bottom line on the budget. But that's not our concern.
Sure, no, I understand that too. It's not all about the bottom line.
And John, on top of that, I have to say that Nolan Camp from the airport has told me that that Snow's group have actually asked for you to release land out here. Now,
well, he hasn't asked me.
It's been not.
Well, he hasn't asked me.
I'm certainly not a supporter
Has anybody asked us for land out here?
The opportunity to participate in the expressions of interest phase of the Gungahlin business plan that the
We have not responded negatively to a single request. But if anybody came to us and said we'd like a piece of commercial land in Gungahlin, we'd knock them over in a way to get the sign on the bottom line.
Make them put their money where their mouth is, Alan, please.
Can the minutes just reflect that? I'll be meeting the airport again in
just also for the record, I think in relation to the QE2 site, and that arrangement was announced.
Well, that and section 63.
But certainly in relation to that resulted from a process that DES started where they actually went to the market seeking expressions of interest and tenders. So if the ACT government through the LDO hadn't actually got involved in that process, you would have had a situation where DES would have been making an announcement, similar time frame, somewhere else in Civic with a private sector land, or the upgrade of one of the buildings.
But you didn't give them the option of coming out.
No. They chose to actually made the decision.
They were never coming out here. I worked for the department, and they were always very clear that they were going to stay.
But you are negotiating about section 63 now.
Well, we're not negotiating, we're proposing to put section 63 to the market. Yes, we're proposing to sell section 63.
If I could just reassure you in terms of the commitment LDA is consistently making to Gungahlin, we actually tried, we responded to an EOI from a different, we responded to an EOI from a different Commonwealth Government agency to try to get them out to the EOI processes that they were running, offered a site in Gungahlin, but they weren't wedded to Civic, which was terrific, but they ended up going with a private sector offer that was made, when I say private sector, a block of land already owned by a private sector, Woden Town Centre. So I mentioned that simply to reassure.
Where the traffic, the president of the Woden Community Council said, well, please get them to go elsewhere. We've got enough.
But Alan, that's just to illustrate, we are making the offers to participate in this process, offering Gungahlin. In that case,
the major new development
with all of that
is by the Department of Health, and they went to the private sector.
Yeah.
Now, the Department of Health is building a massive new headquarters in Phillip. And this is the point we make, is the private sector now owns this land. They are major dealers in this, and it's
So let them own some of Gungahlin.
well, we're seeking to encourage them to do